Well, I've made it. This is the 180th day. This is the last day of this class. 180 school days ago, I sat here and I said, if you're watching this, you could be my student for the next 180 days. Well, it's come. I actually think I can be quite brief today. I'm dealing with the classics that we have out of the 20th century. And, you know, I feel so strange about this because there is so much stuff there that I don't really know what to do with it. And in a way, it hasn't come out what are going to be the lasting ones. But I'll give it a shot here. Out of the 1970s, there was a kind of music called disco. It was immortalized, I think, by John Travolta's Saturday Night Fever. Why I keep looking up is there's a pair of barn swallows right there. That right there is their nest, and they wonder what's going on. Saturday Night Fever. My feeling about disco is it came and it left. You know, it will be remembered. There's a certain stance that I'm not even going to try to make, but sometimes I have kids could do it that John Travolta made famous, or maybe it was this way. Heavy metal. I just can't relate to it. I don't understand it, and I'm sure it's wonderful. But I'm showing my age here. I respect it, and I'll have a little bit more to say about that in a moment. The VCR. By about the end of the 1970s, maybe it was the beginning of the 1980s, a VCR became available. And since then, VCRs are now antiquated. People use other things, but what a difference that made, because that brought movies back to the front. I mean, before, the only chance you really had of seeing a movie was when it first came out in a theater, or sometimes on television they would run. But now that library, if you will, opened up again. So all those movies ever made, or practically all of them, became available, and they are still available, much more easily so. But anyway, with the VCR, that was the thing. And it didn't destroy the movie theaters. People still go, in this day, people still go to the movie theaters. But if you want to study a film or a movie, you can do it. Throughout my course, I used VCRs when I taught, even to the last year. I was antiquated that way, but there are certain things about videotapes, VHS tapes, that I think are better. I think they're better for the instant being able to go to a spot. I always felt that the sound was better. But in any case, at the beginning of the 80s, if you will, that was a very big deal, which we still value. That availability of movies, whether it's VCRs or other things. The computer chip. The computer chip. You know, small as my little fingernail. What a change that has made in the world. All right, the 1980s. Well, there was a new genre when it appeared. I immediately realized this is a new genre. The world has never seen anything quite like this. How often does a new genre appear? And I'm talking about rap. And you know, in a way, I think it was evidence that neither melody nor harmony had to be involved in music. With rap, you were reduced to language and beat. That's still the way I feel about it. I'm not that fond of it, but as a matter of fact, I'm not fond of it at all. But I didn't know if it would last. I was interested. I was very interested in it when it came out. MTV, music videos, that was new. It caught me by surprise. I used to like to take a lyric and study it with my students, like Helplessly Hoping her Harlequin hovered nearby. I would analyze that and study it. And I'd let the students actually bring lyrics in. Back when we were studying the Greeks, Sappho, that Greek lyricist, sometimes I would stop and let students bring in lyrics. But now they began to say, well, you have to see the video. It wasn't enough to just hear the words. You had to see the video. And then I realized this is a new genre. You couldn't just take a music video and just consider the words. This was different. And you know, I don't know the state of that now. I am admittedly an old fogey, I think they used to call it. Breakdancing in the 1980s. You know, so often, so much of this came out from the blacks, the inner city blacks of the United States. Breakdancing isn't done much anymore, I don't think, but it's still admired. Hip hop, that's done still, a whole different kind of dancing. Well, I'm almost purposely not trying to I'm trying not to mention certain major, huge, famous movies or books that were done at this time, because I just know I can't. What I would do by now is I would ask the students, I would ask them, you tell me what are the classics. And very often they would relate to what their parents liked. They heard music or they saw movies at home, or because their parents had them and they liked them too, and that was evidence that they were classics. So as I would come into the end of the school year, which is a very tricky time for everybody, teachers and students alike, I would more and more turn discussion over to students. I would even sometimes in the first period class ask kids, what are the songs? What songs are going to be classic? And I'd write them on the board and leave them there for the next period. The next period would come in and say, no, not that, or you got to put this. It got us through the day, and I learned a lot. Now the internet came in really the 90s, and I said that I was going to stop about 1990, and so be it. I mean, I just say with the arrival of the internet, you know, things changed so much, and so my chronological survey will end right there. Could be kind of a breaking point for that. All right, I think I'm going to have just one more, well, no, 2 more videos, one of mine and one of a friend. So come back.